Hello again. Following on from what I was saying earlier today about the free men of the land, I ought to mention that many people, not just free men, have the idea that the Magna Carta is still the law in Britain, that we base a lot of our rights upon the Magna Carta. It's not true. It hasn't been true for many years. Let me explain what I mean by this. The original Magna Carta, the one that was presented to King John in 1215, had no fewer than 63 clauses, most of which had nothing to do with anybody, unless you happened to be a medieval baron, which is probably not the case for many people watching this. Let's look at clause 57 of the Magna Carta, for example. In cases where a Welshman was deprived or dispossessed of anything without the lawful judgment of his equals by our father King Henry or our brother King Richard, and it remains in our hands or is held by others under our warranty, we shall have respite for the period commonly allowed to crusaders. Anybody thinking of basing any of their rights on that by any chance? What about clause 59, which begins, with regard to the return of the sisters and hostages of King Alexander of Scotland? No one want to use that in a court case? Clause 39 is the one which most people know about and have the vague idea that it relates to something called habeas corpus. It says, and I quote, "No free man shall be taken or imprisoned or be dispossessed of his freehold or liberties or free customs, or be outlawed or exiled, or any otherwise destroyed, nor will we pass upon him nor condemn him, except by lawful judgment of his peers or by the law of the land. We will sell to no man, we will not deny or defer to any man either justice or right." Well, that's about it for Magna Carta's usefulness to the modern world. Incidentally, habeas corpus hasn't got anything to do with Magna Carta. It was already in existence at that time. The concept was devised and named 50 years before the signing of Magna Carta at the so-called Assize of Clarendon. So let's get that perfectly clear. Magna Carta, nothing to do with habeas corpus. That clause 39, at which we just looked, is one of only 3 remaining clauses in force. All the others have been struck out over the centuries and they're no longer applicable. They're simply not the law anymore. The original Magna Carta was issued in June 1215 and revised no fewer than 5 times before the end of that century. By that time it had been reduced to just 37 clauses. And in that truncated form, it remained as the law of the land until 1829, when George IV agreed to repeal Clause 26. Another 15 clauses were removed under the provisions of the Statute Law Revision Act of 1863 and also the Statute Law Ireland Revision Act of 1872. By the end of Victoria's reign, in 1901 when she died, another 6 clauses had been removed. The last revision of the Magna Carta took place in 1969, when 6 more clauses were lopped off, leaving just the 3 remaining clauses. All this probably comes as a bit of a shock to those who have the idea that this venerable document is somehow sacrosanct and still of enormous importance to the law. The 3 clauses which remain on the statute book are as follows. And I'll read the first 2 because we've just looked at clause 39. Here we are, clause 1. First, we have granted to God, and by this our present charter have confirmed, for us and our heirs forever, that the Church of England shall be free and shall have all her whole rights and liberties inviolable. We have granted also and given to all the free men of our realm, for us and our heirs forever, these liberties underwritten, to have and to hold to them and their heirs of us and our heirs forever. Then there's clause 13. The City of London shall have all the old liberties and customs. Furthermore, we will grant that all other cities, boroughs, towns, and the barons of the 5 ports and all other ports shall have all their liberties and free customs. That's it. I have now read out to you the whole of Magna Carta as it is in British law today. Hand on heart, did any viewers know that 6 of the clauses of the Magna Carta were removed in 1969? I'm guessing not. This is why when you hear people, whether free men of the land or others, trying to quote Clause 61 or Clause 48 or something, they are quite mistaken. The only clauses of the Magna Carta remaining are clauses 1, 13 and 39. All the rest are no more than historical curiosities.